Children around Essex will be rehearsing their lines for the various nativity plays being put on by schools for parents and grandparents. But I think my greatest moment actually in a school nativity play was when I played the star. It meant attaching this giant gold star to my head, prancing around the stage and getting the shepherds to gaze at me. The three kings to follow me and the audience to giggle. I felt quite stupid actually. Well, this year Billericay Baptist Church is putting on its nativity play, but it's a play with a difference. It's a musical. It's called The Virgin, and it tells the story of Jesus' birth from his mother's experience. Corinne White is one of the parishioners involved in putting the show on.
What we've attempted to do is to tell the entire nativity story with the reality that went on in real time. So it's told exclusively through the eyes of Mary, who became the mother of Jesus, not looking back, not thinking what a nice tale, but she actually had to walk each day through the decision that God had put upon her, the responsibility he'd put upon her. And she had to learn how to get her mind around what was going on. She had to talk to her fiancé to say, actually, I'm pregnant and nobody's touched me.
It's called The Virgin. How does she explain that then to Joseph?
That particular point comes about just after she has been met by Gabriel.
That's the visitation of the angel.
Yes, it is, the angel Gabriel. She actually has a solo where we, as the audience, hear her turmoil. How on earth am I going to tell somebody I love very much that I've just found out I'm pregnant? And
how does she, without giving it away?
To put it bluntly, we hear of how you would expect maybe today. We will have an argument going on stage. And I hope that people would recognise it wasn't just a nice chat. And that actually then leads us very much into Joseph's response, because he is just devastated and he just thinks everything was all for nothing.
He must be asking questions though, because still even today, a virgin birth, how did that happen?
Absolutely. And again, it was a situation where it's in modern English. The whole piece is a contemporary piece. So he is absolutely incredulous, and frankly, he does not believe her at all.
Say when it's over, it takes so long for the hurt to heal. How do I know what I'm meant to feel inside? Loving was living, now I don't know if it's really love. So many plans, so many dreams. Where do I start making changes? I'm confused, don't know where to turn. How do I deal with the fire that burns inside? How can I tell now if the way she feels?
And that is a broken heart from a real broken man who just thinks his whole future has just been washed away with some devastating news that his wife is actually pregnant.
And then, of course, the birth happens. When does she realise that she's giving birth to the Son of God?
Well, actually, there's a little step between that, because God was very good to Joseph. He actually decided to send the angel Gabriel to him as well in a dream. And so he actually had a personal visitation as well. I have to say, I often wonder why God just doesn't get them together, and talk to them at the same time, and then they wouldn't have had to have this big debate between themselves. But actually, the walk that he put them on, they ended up having to trust each other, trust God, and trust the love that they had for one another as well. So that step had to happen beforehand, and then he was able to completely support her in giving birth, the very natural way, the normal painful way that every mum has given birth, and yet be there to be responsible as the stepdad, so to speak, of the Son of God.
How does Mary the Virgin cope with the responsibility of giving birth to Jesus Christ, to the Son of God?
Well, interestingly enough, I think the bit we forget is just how young Mary probably was. In their culture, she was probably somewhere between 14 and 16 years of age.
Goodness, I never realised that.
Culturally, and probably Joseph would have been in his mid-20s to later 20s, but 8 to 10 years gap was again a very common kind of gap. So the man would have had his job, his career going. They would have probably been betrothed, though, as young children. And so their engagement, which was legally binding, it was as if it was a marriage. They would have then been introduced to each other as younger children, him probably as a teenager, and he would have been waiting for her all this time until she came of age, ready to be more formally married. And so what you've got there is the teenager. And as you know, thankfully, teenagers see things in black and white. They don't have lots of shades of grey like us adults. And I think once she'd recognised God had spoken, she just says, that's what I'll have to do.
And throw into that, of course, the fact that they had nowhere to go.
Absolutely. And I don't know if you think about it, the census, which is why they had to travel to Bethlehem, was because actually they were called to go to Joseph's hometown. I have a question. Why had they nowhere to go? If they're going back to your hometown, if you're going to visit, they should have had lots of family. No family wanted to put them up. Why did they have to go to an inn? In the first place, they should have been welcomed. They were shunned, even by their own family. There was quite a cost to this story, and we forget that when we have the pretty nativities and tea towels. You know, why did they even have to find a place to stay? Interesting, isn't it?
Do you see echoes between those days and the time we're living in now?
Oh, absolutely. We see rejection in our land. We see people who are shunned in our land, be they homeless people, be they because they're foreign, be they because they hold a different belief. We also have to recognise that actually Jesus was the Son of God, we believe. And when King Herod found out that there was a new king on the block, he actually sent them to murder that child. And so they became asylum seekers as well, and they fled to Egypt, something that the story just mentions. We have asylum seekers in our world. We have the Son of God knowing that he was born in the dirtiest, roughest of places. And then the next thing we know, they fled to a foreign country, a foreign language, foreign religion, and they lived there for a couple of years until such time as it was safe to come back. We have so many asylum seekers who know that same isolation, loneliness in our land today.
So who's putting the show on? Is it parishioners?
Absolutely. We're part of the Billericay Baptist Church, with the exception of young Callum King, who is Joseph. Everybody who's in the show, both all the musicians, because it's a fully live band, and all the singers, all the lights, all the sound is all done through the people of the church.
What a great concept. Love it. That's Corinne White talking to Tim Gillett. Corinne is a member of Billericay Baptist Church, putting on the Virgin next Saturday at 7. And next Sunday also at 7, with all profits going to Crisis at Christmas. And if you'd like a ticket, they're priced at £5 for adults, £3 for concessions, and you can get them from the Billericay Baptist Church office, or you can go to admin@billericay.org.uk. Online, that is, of course. Or of course, you can call the church. Now, their number is 01277 654 316. That's 01277 654 316. And if you miss that, do give us a call here at BBC Essex on our usual number, 0300 200 40 41, and we'll give you the number over the phone so you can write it down. That would make life a lot easier, wouldn't it?